they say it's the thought that counts. And it is. And over the last few weeks, I've seen some things via this channel that have honestly kind of thrown me. Now, I'm wearing the Seals jersey by popular demand. Fans of this channel have wanted to see me wearing the Seals jersey. And I have no problem with that. The Seals jersey is awesome. Just opening up. Chat window. Oh, there we go. All right. Let me open up this window so that I can see what you guys are seeing. So, Larry Lunchbucket's a regular poster on here. And he sent me some hockey cards. Now, I don't care what they're worth, and I've said that before. So, when I look at cards and I see McGillney, Bure, Bertuzzi, Bergeron, good old Bergie, and an Artifacts card, Linden, Phil Kessel, but I'll accept it because he's wearing Bruins gear. Tim Thomas. As soon as I saw this, I said Timmer. There's Courtnall wearing the ugly stripe version. Some people say it's ugly stripe. I think not. We went back to St. Louis. It was sad that he didn't stay in Vancouver. And then on the other side, you got Bure, McLean, Naslund. There's a Luongo with Florida. 04-05. That's fantastic. A World Junior card of Manny Malhotra. Matthias Oland, Mason Raymond, Trevor Linden, and there's another Trevor Linden with all of his stats. I think that's right up to, well, it's not a retirement year, but it's getting there. It's this kind of stuff that I think's awesome. So, you know, I didn't do the unveiling here on the channel because we were in the mall for a while. Yvonne had to deal with Talis because her phone's dead. But here, like this is a good for instance. So here's Ken Hodge Jr. Okay, get the glare off. Get the glare off. He looks like he's in pain. He's probably in pain because he realizes his career's not going to be very long. They're taking his picture, and he feels bad. And then right next to him, there's Richard Matvechuk in a K-Wings jersey, which is fantastic. Because it says Kalamazoo Wings, but it was a Kalamazoo K-Wings. That's why that's what they were called. Matt Cook, Mike Brown, Young Guns. And then the Sedins, their World Junior cards. And then the ones that interest me, and this again, is here's the Pinnacle certified. Here's Lyndon McGillney. Funny thing about these cards, so Pinnacle releases certified with the idea that they're certified. They've got this plastic coating on them, so they stay in mint condition until you open the package, you peel that coating off, and it's just pristine. Well, nobody peeled the coating off. You don't peel the coating off. They're worth more money with the coating on. So yeah, the coating is still on these stars, and it still says peel off, which is weird. McGillney and Linden peel off. Well, McGillney was a sniper, and Linden was a two-way forward, so neither of them really peeled off. And then there's Hannu Toivonen, who of course was Toivonen. What I like is, on the backside here, you got Pekka, premier prospect with the Hamilton Canucks. A jersey that I would absolutely love to have. There's Henrik Sedin again, Daniel Sedin again, Josh Holden at the juniors, proving that not all World Juniors become star players. Ed Jovanovski with Florida, Josef Stumpel with Boston, and then Artem Chubarov. I loved Chubarov. Chubarov I thought was a really good center. His first year in Vancouver, I wasn't a big fan of. But then eventually he won me over. So Chubarov I'm a big fan of. Zenith Komarniski, one of the greatest names in the history of hockey. I really wanted Komarniski to become a regular NHLer because his first name was Zenith. Desperately wanted it. And there's Matt Cook before I hated him. I can't be too mad at him as a junior. He's wearing a Team Canada jersey. Then we get into the StarQuest cards of Bork and Bure. I think I have a StarQuest card around of Naslund. Never had the Bure, never had the Bork. There's Ray Bork, the greatest defenseman I ever saw. Trevor Linden in an Islanders jersey, which is just insane. Naslund, Jeremy Roenick is a Flyer. He's made his money. Bergeron, and there's Bergeron again. Here's the card that really caught my eye. Don Lever. And Mr. Lunchbucket. It's not just that Don Lever is here in a Canucks jersey in all of its glory, the original Canucks jersey. It is the fact that this is a card that is in pristine condition. I don't think it's a reprint. And even if it was, I wouldn't care. And then you got a McDonald's card here, which is one of those, they move when you turn them into the 3D thing. Joe Thornton. There's the back of the beret. Back at Linden. Ray Bork, first-team All-Star, because, of course, Ray Bork was a first-team All-Star. Even with the hair. I mean, look at the 80s hair on this guy. He could even make 80s hair work. He was that good. Jason Allison, Peter McNabb for the Bruins here. Bobby Schmaltz, and this one here. This is interesting. So, let me see if I can get a look at this. Those were the Topps cards from the 79-80 season. Notice you can't read a name. You know why? Because they decided it would be fun if the name only showed up when you scratched off a coating over the name. So that's why I'm guessing it's Terry O'Reilly. Because I'm pretty sure I think it's Terry. Isn't it Terry O'Reilly? his name's not on the back. There's no name on the back. I'm pretty sure that's Terry O'Reilly, but I'm not scratching it off because if you scratch off that black smudge over the name, the card is worthless. It was the stupidest thing, and I've never seen one in real life. Which I've never revealed on this channel. I've never said to anybody. And Larry Lunchbucket actually kind of made my day there. And Bobby Schmaltz in a Bruins jersey. And these are in good condition. Like, this is the kind of thing I go for. I'm just going to pause this for a sec. Okay, so again, I'm going to go into my nerddom here with my love of hockey cards. There's Jay Mazer wearing the old Canucks jersey. Played 36 games, had 11 goals the year before they made this card. He was never a regular NHLer, but he looked like he might be that year. Gino Ojic seen there. The better picture of Gino, though, is on the back. And I think that's part of the reason why I don't care that these are worthless. I know they're worthless. Doesn't matter to me. There's Sean Antosky. We would flip him for a better player. Eric Morano. This is another example of why when people talk about the Canucks and, that they blow their prospects or they rush their prospects or whatever they do, they haven't had great prospects. The weirdest card in the whole series is Bure. He's not playing hockey. It's like, well, we can't get Bure at the arena, so we might as well just take... I love that card because it's so weird. He's wearing rollerblades at the beach. Played for Vancouver. And Jeff Courtnall. Goal score. If you needed a goal scored in overtime, Courtnall was your guy. Nah. No. A lot of these are doubles, too. Jyrki Lume. If you needed a shot from the point, he wouldn't take it. Used to drive me nuts. Jason Cullimore looking very dapper on his draft day. And a tragic story in and of itself. Troy Gamble. So for the youngins in the crowd, you wouldn't know Troy Gamble. Troy Gamble, his first year here, 47 games, 16 wins. I think that says 18. Yeah, 16, 18, and 6. And, no, 16, 16, and 6. One shutout, 3.45 goals against. Those are respectable for 90-91. Those are respectable totals. I was in high school. Gamble was a good goaltender. And what happened with Gamble was it was one of those concussion things. He started getting concussions. He started getting injuries. He would get injuries in warm-up. He'd be coming back from an injury, and he'd get injured while practicing to come back from injury. So while he may be forgotten by 99% of the hockey public, I don't forget him because I remembered he was a good goaltender on his way up. He was a Canuck I actually wrote to once. I used to write to the Canucks, and I would get signed cards back. As long as you gave them your address, they'd send back like a big card that they had signed. And I got one back from Troy, where I just told him, I said, I know you've had... I remember my letter to him where I said, I know you've had a challenging year. This was during the year after that. I said, I know you've had a challenging year. I still think you've got a lot of talent. Just be careful out there. Best of health. And I got a card back from him. It was actually pretty awesome. I'm not sure where those cards went. I had one from him. I had one from Rich Sutter. After he went to St. Louis, I wrote Rich Sutter, and I told him that I didn't think the Canucks should have got rid of him because they missed his grit in the bottom six, and I wished him the best in St. Louis. I wrote to... I know I wrote Ryan Walter twice, and I heard back from Ryan Walter both times. I got letters back from Ryan Walter, and I got a signed book back from Ryan Walter. The Ryan Walter book's around here somewhere. I saw it not too long ago. Ryan Walter was the greatest guy in the NHL in terms of being a nice guy and in terms of actually outreaching to fans. At the time I wrote Ryan Walter, it was right after my parents split up, and there was a lot of upheaval in my life. And he sat down and wrote me a long story, and he gave me all kinds of stuff, and he was really helpful. And so full value, full respect for Ryan Walter, the man. And that's why when I'm pretty sure Ben Walter was his kid, I wanted Ben to make it too. So when I talk about players and I talk about guys I like and the guys I don't like, it's not just the play on the ice. It's how the guy is off the ice. When I see Cabby interviewing somebody, or I see Jerry D interviewing somebody, I watch how they are. And I try to see if, like, are they being genuine or are they just, and meanwhile they're just sort of, whatever at the same time. Kirk McLean, another guy who everything I heard about him was awesome. And I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him. I haven't. Robert Cron, there's an underused, underrated, underutilized Canuck who ended up going on to Hartford and had a decent career after he was out of Vancouver. And it always sort of ticked me off that the Canucks didn't give him more of a chance than they did. Yeah, these are all Canucks. And they're all doubles. And I was like, well, why don't you get rid of some of them? Oh, why don't you get rid of them? Now we're getting into players that I cheered for, which was like Dino Ciccarelli with the Washington Capitals. This was only 2 years after he left Minnesota. That's why I cheered for Dino. He played in Minnesota. Peter Zezel, another great guy, came to Vancouver. Mike Ricci, the most beautiful man in the history of hockey. Steve Thomas, one of the most hard-working players in the history of hockey. I don't know that he ever took a shift off, and I never cared so much about how many points he scored because he was just awesome. Steve Thomas was just fantastic. Nemchinov, underrated talent. What I like with this card is there he is in his Rangers jersey, and there he is on the back with the Soviet jersey on. No, that's Red Army. That's Soviet Red Army. I don't know why Craig Janney's in here. And Jimmy Carson. Carson fell off the map. This is why when I see somebody do really, really well in the NHL, and then their next year they're kind of I may worry. This is why if a guy's even been great for 3 or 4 years, and then all of a sudden his stats take a tumble, it's sort of the Jimmy Carson effect. It's Rick Walmsley, underrated goaltender. Brent Sutter, who was Mr. Islander and was an Islander forever. And I had forgotten just how long he was an Islander until I started looking through some old cards, and I was like, wow, he played in New York for a long time. A long time after the Cups were done. Michael Pavanka, Paul Eisbart, Scott Thornton. This is why every now and then I'll mix him up. I mix him up with Sean every now and then. So if I say Scott Thornton when I mean Sean Thornton, there's the reason why. Krushelnyski. This guy is an analyst now for the Devils. Ken Danico, because he's Mr. Devil. He's kind of got to be there. Sean Van Allen, Mark Janssens, Cam Russell, Brian McReynolds, Dave Ellett. I always liked Ellett. I always thought he was underrated. Darhona, Peterson, Van Allen, Pavanka, John McIntyre. He hit the crossbar. I will never forget that about John McIntyre. He hit the crossbar. Jurgis Backa. There's Steve Smith. I think that's the look he had when he put the puck in his own net. I think that's the look he had on his face then. Yves Racine. Yves Racine looks in this picture like something really, really bad smelling was just dropped on the ice. Maybe he didn't expect, like, who are they playing here? It looks like this was probably in St. Louis and somebody threw an octopus on the ice and he's wondering, what the hell's an octopus doing in St. Louis? Where am I? What's going on? There's another guy who dropped off the map, Rob Brown. Rob Brown was a star player, by all accounts, and then it just fell apart for him. So, Yeah, I mean, I've been going through my collections a lot. I've been trying to get my cards put into books. For instance, last night I spent about an hour putting the original Upper Deck into pages. Meaning I spent more on the pages than I spent on the set that I put in the pages. But again, it's interesting to me because the first thing that strikes me is if you look at the jerseys that they wore back then. Stop that. Yeah, I used the family school books that Yvonne's got here that she's not using, and I just said, all right, well, I'll use that. But you look at the jerseys, and they're just gorgeous. And almost every jersey I look at in here, we're like, you know what? If they went back to that, I sometimes think the jerseys change just to sell jerseys and not because it's necessary. Here's another page full. I don't see an ugly shirt here. St. Louis, you could argue that maybe they needed some work because they had the St. Louis word mark in the blue note, which some people like. I intend to do a video at some point soon on which jersey's my favorite for each team. Go through the 30 teams. I don't need to go through Vegas, I don't think. But it's kind of funny because, you know, I look back at those cards and I'm like, jerseys look better. They just look better back then than they do now. And it's so weird because we've gone through a million different people that make these jerseys and develop them, and they've gone through think tanks, and really they looked fantastic back in the early 90s. And then they evolved. And they evolved into this. And that, you know, I mean, that's striking and I have it, but I don't understand. And every now and then they get it right. Where's the one there they got it right? I mean, sometimes they just do designs just for the sake of doing designs. How many times are the Islanders going to make like a small design change and market it as a brand new jersey anyways? That's one weird thing. I've got a lot of Islanders jerseys and they all look very, very similar. It's even to a point now where I can't even argue to Yvonne that there's any difference between ones I'm looking at and ones I have. Because I've thought about getting the original. But to think that about a decade and a half after those ones that I just showed you in that page, they were at this. It's just, I don't know, it's weird. Because notice the stripes just sort of end right here. See that? Stripe ends. Doesn't go all the way around. That's weird. That's really, really weird. It goes around here, and then it stops here because of the little part where it's separated, which again is weird, and then it goes back up on the backside, and again it comes up to the... It's just weird. And the font. Who looks at the numbers font and says we need to have a little dipsy doodle on the left-hand side? We need a little dipsy doodle. You sure about that? Yeah, people won't take it seriously. If we just make it look like a 9, and we don't have the doodle, then people will go, we need a doodle. So we gotta have a doodle on there. So this is why I love hockey cards. This is why I love old magazines. This is why when people say, oh, do you think he would want, and it's a hockey-related collectible? Absolutely. And I look through it. And I pay attention to it. And it reminds me of a time when hockey was a lot less analytics, advanced numbers, and just straight up, just trades happened all the time. And there was more, I don't know, it just seemed more fun, more relaxed. One other thing I wanted to mention that I got today, I bought this myself. I need you guys to help me name them. I got 2 pylons. And I'm considering, see, because I have my corner here, right? And I'm trying to make it so that I can mark off my corner. So I thought, well, a couple of pylons will work. Other people go in the dollar store and go, pylons? What do I need pylons for? I walked in and went, pylons! And I named them. I named them Robert Dirk and Dana Merzen. But that may not be the best names for them. So, because I'm a Canuck fan, I would say Dana Merzen and Robert Dirk, right? So, if you guys have better names for them, by all means, you can send me a tweet at Shannon's Boomstick, and I'll figure out what the best one is, and of course I'll peel off this safety cone part, and then maybe I can have an award for Pylon of the Night, where you guys let me know who you think was the defenseman who was a pylon that night, and then I can reveal the next day who the hockey guy pylon of the night was. And that way you guys are voting on it. I'm not saying it, so people can't, well, they will come back at me for saying it. But anyways, let me know your pylon of the night in the morning. Or actually, let's get them names first. So Dana Merson and Robert Dirk were fantastic for names, but they're both really nice guys. I never had a problem with them as Canucks, except when Merson slowed down. Oh my god. Oh. And Dirk as well. Both big guys, great work ethic, tough guys, but yeah. I know Dion Phaneuf is going to get thrown at me a lot. I don't think he's been a pylon this season. So let me know what you guys think. I think we could have some fun with this. Again, just throw me a message, not a message, just tweet at Shan's Boomstick. Let me know your pick. And if you're not following Shan's Boomstick, you should be. Because I try to tweet on there as much as possible about things that are going on and retweet stuff from other hockey teams. I follow all the hockey teams. So if I see something in my Twitter feed that I think is newsworthy, I retweet it. So I do my best. And the Roy Halladay thing, I did send out retweets about that yesterday. I haven't talked about it because it's not hockey related, and I haven't thought of a way to come at it that's not already being covered by all of the other excellent coverage on both TSN and Sportsnet. This very heartfelt coverage. It's fantastic. It's riveting, and I don't have an emotional Roy Halladay story. Was he the best Blue Jays pitcher I ever saw? Yes. Halladay for me would be just above Jimmy Key. And Jimmy Key to me was the most underrated of all the Blue Jays pitchers. And Dave Stieb would be in the mix as well. If Jack Morris had played longer, he'd be in the mix. And Dave Stewart, man. Oh, just that glare. So I don't just follow hockey. I followed baseball too. Yvonne's not home, so I can discuss just a little bit of baseball. And there is some thinking as well that I'll do a channel that's related to baseball and football, because I do enjoy those sports enough that I could discuss it and not be completely clueless, especially with pitching. I love pitchers. The Braves of the late 80s, early 90s, best pitching staff I ever saw. That was just nasty. You could throw out Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. Holy crap. That was just... And that they only won, one World Series? That's insanity. All right, that's enough gabbing for right now. After this game is over, I'll be reviewing the games of the night in the action. I just wanted to discuss the hockey cards I got in the mail. I want to discuss these beautiful orange babies and discuss a little bit of collections and stuff that I have. And thank you guys for all your support. And thank you, Larry Lunchbucket, for the excellent hockey cards. That's some fun. And again, so it just shows that when people send me stuff, whether it's this beautiful jersey or it's fantastic hockey cards that just remind me of when I was a little kid. That's just awesome stuff. So thank you guys very much for your support. And I will talk to you guys again, as I said, when this game's done. From what I understand, from what I'm hearing, I'm missing a great game. So, thanks for watching. The Rangers lost, of course. We'll talk about that too. I don't know what they have with the Rangers, but Lundqvist had their number tonight, and even though they played fantastic in the third, you can't dig yourself into a 2-goal disadvantage against the Rangers in New York and expect to win. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way around the internet and you happen upon this, and thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. I'll talk to you again soon.